Welcome to the guest lecture series, an initiative by Technovanza VJTI. This session is co-hosted by Gaya College of Engineering and Engineering College Ajmer. I am Sharvari Borole and I am thrilled to be your host for today. VJTI was established in the year 1887 and is upholding its proud legacy of over a century, filled with brilliance, and it has thrived in nurturing the brightest minds of the society. An ardent desire to enlighten young minds and inoculate impeccable qualities within them has been the very objective of the guest lecture series since its beginning. Today, we are pleased to welcome the phenomenal Dr. Seema Rao. As India's first and only women commando trainer, Dr. Seema is one of 14 influential women with Theresa May and Melinda Gates by BBC. Ranked number 6 par Women by Forbes, World Peace Awardee, Nari Shakti National Award from President of India. Seema spent 25 years of her prime life training 20,000 commandos for free of monetary compensation, receiving 3 Army Chief citations as an approved resource of the Government of India. In 2009, she trained 12 state police anti-terror squads. Seema authored world's first encyclopedia of close combat operation. Her books were accepted in FBI, Interpol, and Buckingham Palace libraries. Despite bankruptcy, Seema refused sponsorship, donation, or grants. Seema spent the prime years of her youth in freezing high altitudes, scorching hot deserts, dense jungles, and hostile LOCs, and fractured every bone in her body. Seema decided not to have a child, but instead adopt one. In addition to the brawn, Seema has excelled in beauty and brains too, studying immunology from Harvard Medical School and leadership from Westminster Business School, a 6 times TEDx speaker, and a Mrs. India World Beauty pageant runner-up. Dr. Seema Rao is living proof that a woman can play a man's game and excel at it. She is India's Wonder Woman.
आप भारत की एक महिला कमांडो ट्रेनर हैं। आपने सशस्त्र और अर्धसैनिक बलों को प्रशिक्षण दिया है।
Ma'am, this small introduction wouldn't do enough justice to you. You have blended the eloquent qualities of hard work and persistence with absolute excellence, which can never be unseen. We are truly honored by your presence today. We will have a Q&A session after the lecture, so please leave your questions in the live chat below. Ma'am will be sharing with us her expert outlook on battle philosophy in life. So without any further ado, let's be a part of the conversation regarding our shared future under the guidance of Clearly the Best. Ma'am, passing it on to you now.
Thank you, Sharvari. A very big hi to all the VJTI boys and girls and the faculty as well. I am Dr. Seema Rao, The press has christened me with different names: Iron Woman, Superwoman, but I like to be called as India's first and only woman commando trainer. Let me talk a little bit about my work to you. For the past 25 years of my life, I have been training the Indian forces. The subject has been close quarter battle. And close quarter battle is the distance between two teams, or rather, if the distance between you and the enemy is about 30 meters extendable to 100 meters, then that is called close quarter battle. Everything that happens in that distance is called close quarter battle. So I've been doing this for the past 25 years, and I have trained different forces. I've trained the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Garuds, the Marcos, the ITBP, the NSG, and also 13 state quick response teams which deal with anti-terrorism. So this work of mine has been a selfless service to the country without compensation, because I wanted to serve the country being the daughter of a freedom fighter. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about the battle philosophy in life. Why is a battle philosophy required? So that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about. We all lead a life. You guys are really young. You're just starting your life. I'm 52 years old, so I've seen a lot of my life, a little more to go. But we all need a very strong philosophy. And if you have a battle philosophy, then you will face your life like the way a fighter would. You'd fight against all odds. You would, keep surpassing your wherever you reach and go to higher and higher peaks. So that's why I'm going to start talking to you about battle philosophy, which you can translate into your life. The first thing is, why do we need a battle philosophy? If you talk of the special forces of the world, they have small teams. These small teams are called force multipliers because they do the job of a large troop. If you consider a small team of 4 members, each member, apart from knowing how to shoot and how to engage in battle, he also has few other qualities that are imbibed into him. Like there would be one of them who would be an explosives expert, somebody who deals with explosives, bombs, etc. The second of that team would be a navigator. A navigator would be somebody who knows about the local terrain, who knows about the local language, etc. So he can get the team across because of this knowledge. The third would be a signal man who would be a communicator. So he would be communicating with the higher headquarters, etc. And the fourth would be a paramedic. That is a person who has a very detailed knowledge about medicine, so that if anything happens to the team members, if somebody fractures a bone, or if somebody is shot at, the paramedic would be able to take care of that. So this small team is a team who's a force multiplier. So apart from being able to fight the enemy, other attributes which help. So that's why this small team works as a force multiplier. Now the relevance to us is that in life, you need to be a force multiplier. You need to be able to have lots of skills. Your skills should be in various different areas. In that respect, then you will be a force multiplier. You will be capable not just of any one thing, but you will be capable of many things in your life. So that is what I mean about that. Let me talk about the battle philosophy, and what is most required in battle philosophy is discipline. Believe me, without discipline, you reach nowhere. If there's no discipline, there is no victory. In battle, for instance, if the troops have to attack, they have to be disciplined enough to be able to assemble at the right place, at the right time. They have to carry their resources, so they need discipline to be able to carry all the resources they need. They need to be able to attack at the right time. attack in the correct formation, withdraw at the right time in a formation. So all of this requires discipline. If there is no discipline, anybody would move anywhere. Anybody would decide to attack at the wrong time, and things would just go in a disarray. So that's where discipline becomes important in your life. Okay, discipline is important because you need to wake up on time, finish doing your stuff that you do, go to college, study on time, give your exams on time, finish your papers on time. So discipline becomes very important if you want to win. Without discipline, believe me, you will reach nowhere. Let me talk now about Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu was a Chinese philosopher. He wrote a very big manuscript, a masterpiece, which was called the Tao Te Ching. And the Tao Te Ching basically speaks of the balance in the world. So if you look at the world, you would find, let's look at your friends. In your friend circle, some of your friends are good. Some of them are not good. In the world, you meet good people, you meet bad people. There are good things that happen in our life, good events, and there are also bad events that happen. So there is a balance that is maintained in this world. If we were to translate this balance to your college life, it would mean that you need to balance your college. You go to college, then you come back, you need to study, you need to sleep on time. You also need to be with your family, spend time with your parents, etc., brothers and sisters. And you also need to engage in sports. Now, when you do all of this, you are maintaining a balance in your life. It's not that you're doing just one thing and you're forgetting everything. So during your exams, when you burn the midnight oil, you don't sleep, and you just sit studying, you ignore your food, you ignore your sleep, all this is an imbalance. It's not going to work too long. So therefore, you must learn to develop a balance in your routine life. When you wake up, do your thing, probably go for a walk or go for a run, come back, go to college, attend your lectures, come back home, spend a little bit of time talking to your parents, smiling, laughing with them, go out for some time, meet your friends, share a joke, come back, study, go to sleep on time, have your meals. So that is the kind of balance which keeps you very healthy, very happy, and also winning. Now I will talk to you about the samurai bushido. The samurai were Japanese warriors, and they had what we call as a bushido code. The code was the bushido, and it's a code of principles that the samurai warrior followed. The code would comprise of courage, spirit, truth, honor, duty. So basically, this is what they would follow. There are a few others as well, but I'm just trying to tell you the main ones. So every samurai, he would be called a samurai because he would have all of these qualities in him. He would be courageous, he would have the spirit, he would have honor very high, he would have courage, spirit, honor, duty. His sense of duty would be very high. So the samurai warrior was so high in his bushido that if at all he would make an error, he would fall short of his duty or fall short of his courage or fall short of any of the other qualities, then he would be so ashamed of himself that he would want to perform a harakiri. A harakiri would be where he would take this dagger and plunge it into his abdomen and actually embowel himself. So his bowels would spill out. And there would be another samurai who would behead him at the same time to save him from the agony of pain. So they were very staunch about these principles. They had to have all of these in them. If we translate this into everyday life or into ourselves, then what I want to say is that you should have a very strong character within you. This character would have to be so strong that in your dealings with your friends, in your dealings with your family, in your dealings with your teacher. You should be a person of character. If you're dealing with your friends, say for instance, your friend requires your help, you must help that friend. If you call that person your friend, then when he is in need, you must be there for him. And similarly, when you are in need, you must demand help from your friend. With your parents, do not forget that you have a duty towards them. It's not just that they have to take care of you and look after you, but you too owe them back. When they require you, you must be there irrespective of exams or any of the things. You should be there when they need you. So that is a strong sense of character where it comes to your family. With your teachers, yes, again, a good sense of respect towards them, obedience, as well as if they require to do anything for required to do anything, you must be there for them as well. So apart from that, yes, I would also talk about cheating. Do not cheat in your exams, because if you are a person of character and intelligence, you do not require to fall to that. You study, be prepared, and you work, for your exams, and you deliver whatever it is that you prepared yourself for. You go and exhibit that in your exams. Let me talk next about Sun Tzu as part of the battle philosophy. Now, Sun Tzu was again a Chinese general, and he simplified the battle philosophy. He said that when two countries battle against each other, the person who has a better battle strategy is the one who wins. So here we're talking about the strategy of war. There's a very interesting saying which I'd like to tell you. If you know yourself and you know the enemy, you win in 100 battles. If you don't know yourself and you don't know the enemy, you will lose all 100 battles. If you know yourself and you do not know the enemy, then the odds are even. So what General Sun Tzu basically meant is that it is very important for you to know yourself and to know the enemy. If we were to talk about exams, the exam scenario as something which makes you tense, anxious, and you know that you have to perform. So for a student, an exam would be like, a battleground. So if I were to tell you something really very simple about your exams and how you can use Sun Tzu's philosophy, I would say that do not study hard, but study smart. By that I mean that if you have your exam tomorrow and you think you're not prepared at all, you come home and you open up your books. And when you open up your books, you realize that there's so much there that you are not going to be able to study and reproduce all of that and give a good performance tomorrow. So instead of deciding I'm going to study hard and burn the midnight oil and do all of that, you must study smart. And by that I mean that you must look at your book and look at what are the topics that are most important. If you could get an idea of what was, there in the previous exams, for your seniors, if you roughly have an idea of what is most important, so you first make a list of whatever topics are extremely important, which you must know. Then you make a list of the topics which are not so important, but it's possible that those questions also will be asked to you in your exam. Now, when you decide to do this, also allocate a time for you to study the big topics, a time for you to study the less important topics. And keep a contingency time. A contingency time is something, a time gap which you fall back on in case your father or mother wants you to run an errand and just do that errand for them, then you need to have that time as well. So basically what I'm talking of is to study smart, not just study hard. And study smart is to understand the most important aspects that you must know, and the other aspects which are of lesser importance, but you must cover that up later. Once you study this way, you are sure you're going to perform well and you're going to get very good grades. I will now talk to you about Bruce Lee's philosophy. Now, Bruce Lee, we all know about Bruce Lee, the legendary martial artist. And Bruce Lee said that, he came up with an art which is called Jeet Kundu, and it is also backed up by a philosophy. So that's why it's Jeet Kundu is the art and philosophy which was developed by Bruce Lee. It's a less known fact about Bruce Lee. People think he's just a martial artist, who could knock the shit out of the guy in front of him. But apart from that, he was also a philosopher. So he kind of translated the fighting principles into life. And he spoke about two very important things, one being simplicity. There are others as well, but I'm going to talk about two most important ones, which you can use in your life. One being simplicity. Simplicity means the lesser resources which you have, the less complicated, the less complications. For instance, if you need to study for a subject which you have an exam tomorrow, and you start looking into 5 books, 5 textbooks, and trying to find answers. Now, this is so many resources. So now your task is going to become very difficult. But if you find out one of the books which has everything explained well, which is perfect, then you need not look into the other 4. You simply look into that one book and you get all the answers and you study. So here what I'm trying to say is reduce the resource. When you reduce the resources, it becomes simple and uncomplicated, and you are able to absorb more easily. Let's talk about Bruce Lee's second principle. He said you must be open-minded. Now, when I say open-minded, I mean that, say for instance, you have a project that you have to complete. Now, whenever everyone does something, it's usually the traditional path that is followed. You do things in the same manner. Stop by and start thinking out of the box. Is there a more easier way that I can do this? Now, for that, you need to open your mind. Because if you have a closed mind, you will just follow what has to be done. You will say, okay, this thing has to be done in this particular way. The step has to be step 1, followed by step 2, followed by step 3. But now suddenly you just look at it detached. You get out of the situation and ask yourself, is there some other way I can do this, which can get me the result faster? Yes. And there, you've opened your mind, you have thought out of the box. You must always look beyond. You must always have a healthy disrespect for the teacher, the teaching, and the textbook. Now, what I mean by this is, a lot of times in life, we are given the answers straight away and we just take them. No, what I want you to do is, I want you to question the answers. When something is given to you, rethink about it. Don't accept it straight away. Start thinking, is this right? Yes. Can there be some other way? And that's when you're opening your mind, you're thinking out of the box, and you're having a very healthy disrespect for whatever is placed in front of you. So you start looking at it and you start looking at all other ways in which you can look at it. In that respect, you're going to transcend all the innovations, all the inventions which were made in the world since ages. They have been because scientists decided to think out of the box. They decided not to take the answers, but decided to question the answers and then came up with something new. Now, I will talk about the Zen. Zen is a Japanese philosophy again, which will help you. It's a battle philosophy. Zen is meant for you to be mindful. One of the things Zen propagates is mindfulness. By mindfulness, I mean that you guys are young. The phase that you're going through is youth. So you have college, you have friends, you have family, you have your brothers and sisters fighting with you at home, joking with you, you have your friends, you're going out with a girl, dating a girl, you're joking with your friends, you're going for movies, you're doing so many things. But are you really mindful of what you're doing? Do you ever come back and look at your mother while she's cooking for you and think, oh, my mother, she works so hard all day and still finds time to cook and serve me hot food? Do you think of your father? Do you look at your father and think, oh, my dear father, he goes to work, he comes back, he earns a living for my family so that I can study? Do you look at your friends while you're in the canteen? Do you experience the canteen, the food? Look at your friends and say, oh my God, these guys may not be there with me. Probably after I finish my course, they'll be somewhere else and I'll be somewhere else. So are you ever mindful of the fact that you're young, that you're going to be young just once, because very soon you'll enter adulthood and then you'll be working in a career and life will change. So it's very important for us to be mindful, to be grateful for the people around us. So you'll go to college, look at your teachers, your professors and say, oh, he teaches so well, I respect him so much. No, you never do that. Everything is taken for granted. And this must change, not just now, but for the rest of your life. Because if you are mindful, you will get so much more out of your moment. You will be able to experience so much more happiness and so much more of what people, you will be able to take in what people have to, when they speak to you, when they smile at you, you will be in that moment looking, relishing. So it's very important to be mindful as well. And finally, my advice to all of you is keep rocking. Don't be fixed in career. While you're following one path, see, like for instance, if I were to talk about myself, I intended to be a doctor, but life took me on a different path. Destiny took me to commando training. I was enjoying that process. I was enjoying going to various, different units, academies, training people there, getting respect from them, getting job satisfaction, feeling I'm doing something for the country. So I was filled with so much of mindfulness and I was enjoying the whole process of living. So you too must aim to enjoy the process of living, which comprises of a lot of things. Yes, it is studying, it is achieving, it is becoming successful, but it is not just material success. It is success in all the spheres of life. You should aim to have a good family life. You should aim to make good enough money. You should be healthy. You should be happy. All of this comprises life. So you too may end up somewhere. Let your heart just carry you and you will just walk on. You will experience life. You will look at life with a new view and you will enjoy every moment of your life if you follow the battle philosophy that I've just enumerated. So remember, once again, I'll just go through it quickly. For the battle philosophy to be translated to life, the first thing that you require is discipline. After that, Lao Tzu, understanding the balance of life. So have a very good balance, study, college, family, sleep, all of that. The Samurai Bushido is you should be a person of immense character. That character should be seen by your friends, your family, your teachers. Sun Tzu, where I said strategize when you are giving your exam, study what is essential, what is most important. And then after that, the second important stuff. Jeet Kune Do, Bruce Lee's philosophy, all about simplicity and open-mindedness. Think simple, lesser resources. Don't complicate stuff. Think with an open mind, out of the box. Question the answers. Zen, the Japanese philosophy, be mindful above all. Enjoy the experience of living, the experience of being young, because this phase is going to pass by and you're going to be in another phase, which you should enjoy too. So the advice, keep rocking, keep smiling, keep winning. Okay, with this, Dr. Seema Rao, I'm signing out. Jai Hind. So I'm ready for any questions now. I'm ready for the questions and answers.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for such an insightful lecture. I am sure that I am speaking on behalf of the entire audience watching us right now, that you have positively revealed groundbreaking thoughts and promising ideas while instilling a new perspective in our lives. We'll now begin the Q&A session to answer a few questions. The
Sure.
first question that we have for you is, ma'am, being a doctor, why did you choose to be a commando trainer?
Okay, I didn't choose to become a commando trainer. I was a doctor. I was doing my medicine. But apart from that, as a female, I also was pursuing martial art because I wanted to be strong. Then I was also interested in other adventure activities, and I was also interested in losing my fear. You know, I had a fear of water, I had a fear of heights, I had a fear of confrontation. So I didn't want to live with this fear all my life. So I decided one day that I'm going to attack each of these fears systematically and break them down so that they're never a part of me. So in a very systematic fashion, I attacked my fear of water, went out there into the sea, did a course and got my professional association of diving instructor. I became one of those, a PADI instructor. I attacked my fear of heights because I climbed the Sikkim Himalayas. I was very afraid, but eventually I got a gold medal. So, you know, these are the ways in which I did all of this. And then there was a chance meeting with a senior police official who was very impressed with my skills. So he called
Yes.
me, he said, give a demonstration to my troops. And then one thing led to the other. So I enjoyed the process. And it's not, my medical skills were not really useless. I applied all the knowledge in a commando training where I used it to understand how you can maim, handicap, or kill the enemy, which parts of his body you need to attack, etc.
Okay.
Yeah.
And indeed, that was inspiring. The next question is, even today in our country, women are not allowed to take part in active combat services in the armed forces. So what is your opinion on this?
See, our government, our forces are doing a very good job, and it's happening very slowly. The process may take some time, but change will eventually occur. We need to trust the government and allow them to take their decisions at the timely, time to time. So it will happen eventually.
Okay, that's really great. So moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
What kept you motivated in your tough times?
Yeah, very interesting. I had two injuries. One was when I had a fall on my head, and the second one was when my father was a freedom fighter, and then eventually he was also with IIT Mumbai, and he used to teach humanities and social sciences to the IIT engineering students. So when I got these injuries, one of the injuries I got was when I heard the news of my father, and I kind of lost my focus, but I was with the trainees, so I could not express the grief. And in a hand-to-hand combat situation, one of the trainees lifted me and threw me down. And because I had lost my focus, I landed on my head and I was unconscious and I had amnesia. So it was like my memory was just deleted out of my head. And so that was one. And then there was another situation when I had a very bad back injury. And I asked myself, I was hospitalized for 6 months because I had broken my back. And both these situations, I sat, I was looking at the ceiling, hospital ceiling, and I would ask myself, is this what I want to do? Is this the kind of life I want to continue? And because these were near fatal injuries. But, in life, everyone faces an obstacle. but it is how your response is to the obstacle. So though I was afraid, though I was deterred by these things that happened to my life, I decided that I don't want to be somebody who lacks courage. I don't want to be 80 years old and look into the reflection in the mirror and say, you were just scared, and that's why you chickened out and you left what you were doing. So I didn't want to be somebody like that. So I decided that in spite and despite of things going wrong, against all odds, I will continue the work that I am doing. So that's the kind of feeling. So what I'd like to say to everyone is that there will be obstacles, and let your inner voice not tell you to stop. Uh, don't be afraid. Just handle things a little more cautiously, but continue walking on your path, and you will see the light of the day. Yeah.
Ma'am, I completely understand that a few things are tough, but you have always proved to be an inspiration for all of us. So now the next question is, what are your thoughts on gender-friendly measures in police stations?
Sorry,
Especially
can you repeat that? What are your
thoughts on gender-friendly measures in police stations, especially for women in various posts. Do we have well-equipped police stations and facilities that care for women too?
I am unable to answer your question because I train the police, but I cannot, answer about what happens in police stations, etc. So that is a question which I cannot take.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for the response. Now we'll move to the next question.
Yeah.
How did you start your professional career in crisis management? What were the requirements?
Well, crisis management is any kind of crisis, any kind of disaster that happens, and how you deal with it. So I was interested, like apart from what I was doing, I was also interested in being able to know how to face disasters, which could be of any kind. So I decided to do a very systematic course in that as well. And I completed my course in that. So that made me more equipped in being able to deal, adversities and crises and disasters that happen to anybody's life. So it was just like one more thing that I wanted to equip myself with so that I become more knowledgeable. Next question.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now the next question is, what is the best part of your job?
The best part of my job is one, it was very challenging, and second is probably the respect that I earned from the trainees, and the third is the mementos that I got, because I didn't charge the forces, but the mementos. I have a house where one wall is full of mementos which I have got from different forces. So that's a wealth that I have. Apart from that, I think the respect, because when I would go and train the, impart training to my trainees, at the end of the course, they would come and they would, smile, they would shake hands with me, salute me. And in their eyes, I would see genuine admiration and respect. And I would feel very fulfilled that the job I was doing for the country was good. I would also feel that I'm giving back to the country, that if these soldiers can, put their life at risk to safeguard our country, then what I'm doing is something really very small towards the country. So this would fill me with, all these feelings that would be there would make me feel very happy and very satisfied. And yeah, so that's what I feel.
Okay, wow, ma'am, that's really amazing. Knowing the best part, I would like to know about the other side as well. So, ma'am, what are the drawbacks of your job?
The drawbacks of my job, if I were to enumerate them, would be probably traveling to hostile locations, dense jungles, ice cold mountains, scorching hot deserts. Sometimes taking a weapon and having to show my trainees how to shoot on the firing range, holding the weapon when it's very cold, and when your fingers almost become numb, but you still have to hold the weapon, you still have to press the trigger, because your fingers almost stick to the metal of the weapon, and sometimes you're so numb that you can't feel anything at all. But then when you have to deliver and you have to perform, you have to do it. So there are no ways you can evade all of that. You have to be tough. So yeah, these were some of the times, it's because weather conditions, terrain, all this can be tricky, traveling long hours. So, but well, at the end of the day, there is a feeling of immense satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am, I completely understand that a few things are tough enough. Moving on to the next question.
Yeah.
What is your fitness mantra?
My fitness mantra is that one, you must eat right. So I avoid oily foods. I am not a non-vegetarian. I used to be a non-vegetarian, but I prefer to be vegetarian now. I have a high protein diet. I exercise every day. I sleep well. My exercise comprises of running about 5 kilometers at least twice or thrice a week. Then I also lift weights so that I keep my muscle mass going. Well, I also practice my art, my martial art, etc. I keep my skills honed up, and I have my daughter runs a fight gym usually on the weekend, and if I'm around, then I go to the gym and I spar. I fight with boys who are half my age, twice my weight, and I put them in a serious mess. I get bruised, my lips gets bruised, I get a black eye, but I knock them out in the end. So that's the whole meaning of the game for me. You need to keep fit, you need to get better every day. Though as we all age has a way of pulling us down, but you need to fight even that, and you need to be the best at your age. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I am sure that your answer will help many women to stay fit. And the next question is, ma'am, can you please suggest some tips to learn martial arts at home?
It's difficult to learn martial arts at home for the simple reason that you need to have an adversary in front of you. Martial art is all about body, mind, spirit. So where it comes to the philosophy, etc., fine, one can read books, etc., and try to learn the philosophy. But let me say that you need an opponent in front of you. And that opponent provides you the targets where you can hit and learn how to hit hard, learn how to hit strong. And so martial art cannot be learned without an adversary. You can't punch to pop the air in front of you. You got to punch somebody's face. So I understand that these times one cannot go and join a martial art class, etc. But eventually, when things open up, if those interested for learning how to defend themselves or learning art, they should join some setup where they can learn how to defend themselves and fight with an opponent. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am, that's quite thoughtful. Moving on to the last question. What message would you like to give to young girls and women?
My message to young girls and women is that your life is there waiting for you, and explore your aptitude. There'll be things you'll be good at, so keep exploring what you're good at. Follow the direction of your passion. Expect obstacles, because there is never a path where there are no obstacles. The obstacles could come sometimes from your dear ones, but learn to get over the obstacle. Don't give up very easily, and go in the direction that your heart wants you to go. And life comes only once, so remember that, and you must move. Uh, and life is there waiting for you. You have to just unleash your latent powers or your latent attributes that are there within you, and you will reach places.
Okay, ma'am, that's a great outlook. Okay, Ma'am, thank you for the impactful and thought-provoking session. We hope you all enjoyed the session. I am Sharvari Borole signing off. Until next time, this is